how we helped Skyscanner reduce customer contacts by 40%. I want you to learn what we did for Skyscanner so you can deflect tickets and encourage self-service in your business too. With self-service, you can contribute to customer happiness, and I'll tell you about that a little bit later in the video. And you can get rid of basic requests which are boring as f anyway. So come join me in this customer experience journey where we look at how we save hundreds of thousands of dollars for Skyscanner each year by automating and deflecting tickets. This is coming from a customer experience expert, 15 years in the field, over a decade-long Zendesk consultant. Here's a testimonial of our work done for Skyscanner. This is coming from John Thorne, Director of User Interactions at Skyscanner. And now for a bit of context. Skyscanner is a flight search company originally from the UK that has been bought by a Chinese firm in 2016 and is worth $1.75 billion. This worth was back in 2016, so I imagine it's probably a lot more than that now. How Skyscanner works, it indexes flights from over 300 flight operators, and it scans these for the best offers. And for example, I can look for flights from London to Detroit, any departure date, 1st of February, 15th with return, adult 1. I can look for direct flights, search, economy, only one adult, search. Now I can search for flights, and I can also search for hotels, and I can also hire a car. Now I can choose my best offer from here. Another cool feature is the multi-city search flights, which Skyscanner was amongst the first to introduce. So how this works, I can search another flight for London, and I can go to Cape Town in South Africa, and I can depart on the 15th as well, search flights. And now this looks up my best options for what I've chosen. Now I'm going to let it do its thing for a bit. Okay, so now it's showing my results for multi-city, and I can choose amongst the best ones, and I can find some pretty cool offers, I see. Skyscanner is very big. It has a bunch of languages, so if you look at the languages it supports, it shows more options than I'll probably ever have in my lifetime. So yeah, this is a gajillion languages it supports, which is, amazing. You can also change your country, which it supports, and a bajillion currencies as well, which, yeah, you can search your flight in and automatically converts it. So yeah, pretty serious stuff. So now we're going to talk about the problem. So what's the essence of the problem which Skyscanner had and they needed help with? Customers thought and still think that Skyscanner is responsible for the booking of their flights, which is not true. Skyscanner is a search engine. They sell millions of flights and they only hold in-house about maybe 5% of those, or maybe up to 10%, something along these lines. So most of the flights that are booked on the website do not belong to Skyscanner. They belong to the 300 plus flight operators that they use. It's a sort of a goodwill deed that Skyscanner does, but not really. So imagine you book 1,000 flights and you get 10% of that. That's 100 flights. If people come in the millions and book flights from you, 10% of millions is bajillions. Anyway, it's a numbers game, and Skyscanner delivers on that. Skyscanner delivers an amazing product, so they only get a cut of a cut. So that's the business model. So how did we actually help them? Customer Help Center theme design. We did the prototyping, the design, and the implementation of a custom help center that caters to self-service. A help center is the baseline for self-service. You update it frequently with questions and answers that your user base comes with, and you allow your users to find this on Google. So now I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you. We go here to help, and you navigate to the help center. Now the help center is divided into the 3 services that Skyscanner offers: flights, hotels, and car hire. Keep in mind, we've had a 10-year-long relationship, so this has changed throughout the years, and we weren't the only ones who made tweaks to this. So I'm trying to be realistic and upfront. So in here you come and you search for articles for yourself, my flights, and yeah, you find answers to your questions by yourself. This is very customized, and it leans into the next point. We created a custom navigation. Custom navigation comes from the fact that we have 3 main sections, which each of them has its own knowledge base. So each one of them looks the same as the other. As you can see, it has the same topics, but it follows a completely different URL. So in this URL, you essentially have your own knowledge base with questions and answers that are only related to car hire or hotels or flights. So this is number one. Number two, which is amazing, is this navigation through the articles where you can open up and it automatically goes and follows your reading, and you can close this up and you can move to the next one and you can open a new one, and so on and so forth. So this is all very custom in order to keep everything in one page. This kind of custom navigation keeps the user grounded, and it explains where they are and they can easily identify what service they need. Also, navigating through articles like this in one page keeps them from getting lost. So navigation is easier, so their experience is a little bit more pleasant. If they get lost, they can also choose a category from here, which are the same categories that you saw in the initial homepage. As long as we're on the subject of navigation, the third point of how we help ticket deflection: hidden submit request button or contact us button. Now, in order to encourage users to find the answers that they need, we had to hide the contact us button. And as you can see, it's below here where the article ends. So if I open multiple ones, you'll see that each one has a contact us. Why we did this is because customers would see the contact us button in the header of the website and they would click directly that. They wouldn't read anything. And this is normal human behavior. You don't want to wait. Nobody wants to wait. I don't like to wait. However, an agent would respond with whatever the article said, and that is repetitive work that nobody wants to do. That's not even the problem. That's okay. If the customer would be happy to get this answer, then that wouldn't be a problem. However, customers could complain that, oh, this is kind of a rigid answer. Agents would come in and they would give a link to the same article that the user didn't want to read, because it makes much more sense to send the user to a page which is dedicated to an article which explains everything bit by bit. Imagine if I would send to you in an email all of this text, it would overcrowd your email and you probably wouldn't read that either. So it's much cleaner if you get a URL and you read this. What we did is we wanted to encourage users to find the answers themselves because they were there, and it's much easier. Obviously, from a cost perspective, this makes sense as well, because the more tickets that come into the system, you need people to answer those. People that answer these kinds of repetitive questions are not very satisfied with their job after a year or two. And obviously this nowadays has been replaced by AI anyway. Okay, so now we're jumping to the next point of how we help Skyscanner deflect tickets. Notification to let customers know that Skyscanner is not a booking agency. Now, this has taken shape in many forms throughout this 10-year relationship, because it has come in the form of a pop-up coming from above, a pop-up coming from the right, a pop-up coming from the left, a pop-up which is now just living here and you can't even close it because it has to catch your attention that Skyscanner is not a booking agency. Rather, it's just a search engine, much like Google. You wouldn't go to Google and say it gave you the wrong recipe for scrambled eggs, would you? That's a weird thing to do because Google just gave you a scrambled eggs recipe that somebody put out there. So you should probably complain to the person that put that out there. Well, this was exactly the intent with this message. Like, hey, dear customer, we understand your frustration, but you're actually frustrated on somebody else, not us, and you might want to go talk to them. And obviously Skyscanner gives you a way to search for the partners that they work with, and it's an article in the knowledge base, and here it is. It gives you an example of the most popular ones that they use, and you can go in here and just choose whichever one is relevant and where you actually booked your ticket. So this is another custom thing that we did, which is point number 5, custom search features. In order to keep the customer experience in check, and because Skyscanner cares deeply about its customers, it offers a way for customers to find their booking agency or the flight operator that they book with. So this is another article in the knowledge base, and this has been a bit of a pain to do because we had to create a custom table which is in a database which has a link to the most popular and to everything else. So in this way, it brings up the name of the booking agency or the flight operator, and you click the arrow and it takes you directly to their contact us button. So Skyscanner does its due diligence to send you exactly in the right direction so you can get the support you need. So the next custom search feature is if you go in here, for example, and you go to contact us and you start putting flight operator. So what this does is it indexes your search and it uses a custom solution for search results. It's called Inventa. So these guys use an AI that take keywords and give out the appropriate results that usually solve requests that are to do with the subject matter. So in here, I can navigate to a different article. I would read that and that's it. I would maybe solve the request myself, or I would just go down the rabbit hole. And if I couldn't find what I needed, then I could actually reach out for support. Now, this is another clever way to deflect tickets. It's pulling people's nerves a bit, I do admit, because it's trying to do all it can to not make you submit a request. It's forcing you in a way to look up the answers yourself. Okay, another custom search feature is for your booking reference. So if I go to my booking reference, if I put a certain syntax in here like SKWUK, there is a script behind this and it automatically detects it's a Skyscanner related booking. Now this gets some additional priority because it is related to that 10% that we talked earlier. So this has to receive more attention from customer service. Okay, now for some conclusions. We were talking a bit earlier about customer happiness, and I promised that I tell you how this contributes to it. I think about how you search for solutions when you need help. The older demographic usually likes to use phone. So boomers and Gen X, they like to use phone. Now, younger ones like millennials, like myself and Gen Z, we like to search for things ourselves. So before anything else, I look on Google. Usually if I don't find an easy answer, then do I go and I try to call or I try to email or chat or whatever is available. So it means that I've already tried solving my issue and I wasn't able to. And that's not great experience for me because I'm already a bit annoyed. Okay, so I've tried to solve it and then I have to talk to somebody and it's going to waste my time because they might not even solve it for me. So I don't want to be delighted by customer service. I just want an answer to whatever I was looking for. So as you can see, my demeanor now is to not get pissed, not to get excellent service. I'm already on a tight knit and I might snap. So if I'm able to have a self-service, which is the standard now, then I'd be a bit happier. And now on the subject of deflecting tickets. Deflecting ticket is great for a company because it saves costs. So instead of hiring more people to do stuff for you, you can have a knowledge base where people can Google things on their own. Or nowadays you can use an AI that pulls in that information based on whatever the user is searching for. And it reads the contents of the email or the chat or whatever. And it queries this database. So you can create a custom GPT, right, with ChatGPT from OpenAI, and you give it your knowledge base to read, and you can then serve your customers with that knowledge base. Obviously, there's a bit of a caveat here because of data security. The problem is that ChatGPT is not all that reliable all the time. It sometimes gives you false information, and that's putting a bit of a dent in the openness of large companies to adopt this solution. However, it is possible to do that now. It's not perfect, but what in life is. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel if you haven't, if you find this content useful. I thank you for your attention and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.